This is the moment everything has been building towards. You have run the calculations. You have measured the terrain, hidden your intent, established an airtight defense, and baited the enemy into moving exactly where you want them. Every single variable has been stacked entirely to your advantage. Now the quiet geometry of planning stops. The time for observation is over. It's the time to unleash the force. Sun Tzu describes this exact collision not as a fair fight, but as an overwhelming physical mismatch. Depending on how you translate his ancient characters, he says it's like a heavy pound weight dropping on a single grain of sand, like an iron anvil crushing a delicate feather, or like a violent torrent of pent-up water suddenly released, crashing down into a chasm of 1,000 fathoms deep. To see what this ancient onslaught looks like when it is translated into modern steel and speed, we have to look at the spectacular, shocking 2022 Kharkiv counteroffensive. Sun Tzu's ultimate war tip tells us to stack everything to our advantage, until we have eradicated all possibility of defeat before we strike. In late summer of 2022, the Ukrainian military command did exactly that. They spent weeks leaking information that they were going to strike in the south, near Kherson. They practically invited Russia to move their best troops away from the northeast to defend the southern front. Russia took the bait. They emptied out the Kharkiv region, leaving behind thin lines of scattered Rosgvardia National Guardsmen and low morale conscripts. While Russia was looking south, Ukraine was quietly assembling a razor-sharp striking force in the northern forest. They tracked every Russian outpost, mapped every communication hub, and achieved complete, absolute operational security. They eliminated their own risk of defeat by ensuring Russia was entirely blind to what was forming right on their doorstep. And then, on September 6th, the water burst from the dam. Ukraine didn't launch a slow, grinding war of attrition. They hit the Russian lines with a ferocity and speed that completely paralyzed the enemy's command structure. Highly mobile mechanized columns, riding in rapid armored vehicles, shattered the thin front lines within hours. When the enemy makes its move, it will be overwhelmed by a counterattack made so ferocious and so unexpected that the enemy will be unable to comprehend what is happening. This was Sun Tzu's anvil hitting the feather. Russian forces didn't just retreat, their entire command loop collapsed. Because the strike was so fast, Russian headquarters didn't know where the Ukrainian columns were, where their own troops were fleeing, or how to coordinate artillery support. The mismatch was so absolute that the Russian military was entirely unable to comprehend the shape of the attack. In just a few days, Ukrainian forces surged over 70 kilometers deep into occupied territory, liberating critical supply hubs like Balaklia, Kupiansk, and Izium. The onslaught was so overwhelming that the retreating Russian army left behind hundreds of intact tanks, artillery pieces, and ammunition depots. They didn't even have time to sabotage their own equipment. They were crushed before they truly realized what had hit them. This is the ultimate execution of Sun Tzu's fourth chapter. True strategic power means that by the time you actually choose to fight, the enemy's defeat is already a mathematical certainty. You don't trade blows, you simply deliver the inevitable punch. The lesson of any leader is clear. Never strike prematurely out of impatience or anger. Do the quiet, exhausting work of preparation first. Eliminate your weaknesses, bait your opponent into exposing theirs, and stack the scales. And when the momentum is right, don't hesitate. Pull the pin, open the floodgates, and unleash the force. To bring this entire chapter to its ultimate conclusion, Unleashing your force is not an act of desperate bravado. It is the release of pent-up energy that you have spent weeks, months, or even years carefully storing up. Sun Tzu's vivid imagery of an anvil striking a feather or water bursting into a thousand-fathom chasm reminds us that true victory is a masterclass of kinetic physics. As a staggering breakthrough in Kharkiv proved to the world, a master strategist does not look for a fair, prolonged fight. They look for total asymmetric compression. By meticulously eliminating every possibility of your own defeat, blinding the enemy, and baiting them into emptying their lines, you ensure that the actual battle is over the exact same second it begins. When it is finally time to stop calculating and completely overwhelm your opposition, execute Sun Tzu's 3 laws of the onslaught. Stack the scales in secret. Never telegraph your blow. Do the quiet, exhausting work of misdirection. Build your striking asset in the shadows, and make your eventual safety a mathematical certainty before you cross the line. Paralyze their comprehension. Do not strike merely to push the enemy back. Strike to shatter their ability to think. Move with such velocity and ferocity so overwhelming that the enemy's leadership loop completely fractures before they can react. Deliver the inevitable punch. Restrain your aggression until the enemy is entirely out of position. But when the trap snaps shut, banish all hesitation. Release the floodgates and crush the threat before they even realize what hit them. The supreme art of war is making victory look easy because the preparation was absolute. Run the analysis, lock down your defense, wait for the open door, and then unleash the force.